All right, you bunch of yahoos, strap yourselves in for another episode of Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity.
In other words, shut up, sit up, and pay attention.
And I was like, give me a knife. I need a tourniquet. I was going to cut out my bootlaces. And then I just remembered something said belt, like someone just triggered belt. And I had a rigger's belt on, which is I kind of loop it through, fasten it back through. So I was like, come get my belt off. So we got my belt off and I looped it around my arm and I made a tourniquet with my belt. And I went back, I levered it behind my neck, elevated my arm and just pulled down as hard as I could. And then just to cinch it real tight. And I left it there, pulled the phone back out. And I told Camo, like I said, we're coming out now. And then, then I got outside to see him and we walked through the building. Once I kind of got that self-established tourniquet on my arm, we walked out, put the other gentleman in the back seat of the car. And then I crawled into the front seat and we start going down the road. And then my supervisor, he calls 911. He says, I'm transporting 2 wounded sailors. And, they're like, get to the front gate, the ambulance is there, or it should be there, whatever. Pretty much get to the front gate. So we navigate through base, we get up to the front gate, and there is not a single ambulance up there. It's police cars, and it's a lot of standstill traffic, and they're trying to figure out what to do.
But
and
no EMTs or like that?
No, when they couldn't get in because the traffic's bottlenecked up, and this has just happened. So we got up to the front, and so we get out of the car, and I walk around the car, and we get the other guy that we put in the back seat out. We put him in the bed of the truck, and then a cop comes over and starts working on him, helping him out with his legs and applying pressure to his wounds. And I continue to walk around to the different cruisers, and I'm telling them, "Hey, we need a ride now." I was like, we still had 911 on the speakerphone on the truck, and I'm telling her, I said, "Hey, my legs are bleeding out." I was like, we need to get to a hospital now. I was telling them like we don't have time to wait. And then one of the deputies with the sheriff's department came over and he said, "You're not dying on my watch. Get in the back of my cruiser." So I crawled into the back of his cruiser. And as I got back there was another police officer that got shot during the gunfire exchange in the building. And they had already had him up front. And he got hit in his femoral artery in his leg. And it was bleeding out. So they didn't have a tourniquet. They didn't have it plugged. So I saw that when I went to the back of the car. And I just went in and I just put my elbow right in his leg and I plugged his leg up for him with my elbow. And I told him, I said, "Hey, you have to pull on my belt," because I was my hand I was pulling on the belt with. I was like, "You got to pull on my belt and I'll plug your leg. You pull on the
I'm
belt."
not trying to laugh right now, but I'm trying to picture all this. You're trying to plug one thing, he's trying to pull the strap right there, keep the tourniquet. I know, like what?
Yeah, it
Crazy,
was
craziness. But then you're still thinking though.
yeah, that's what it was like. It was just kind of like the next task was this. And so we're in the car and I asked the police officers, "Hey, this thing got speakerphone in it." For some reason I'm a comedian half the time anyways, so I guess I still have my wits to me. I was like, "This thing have speakerphone?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Call my wife." And because I want to tell her I'm in a cruiser, I'm getting to the hospital,
Okay,
I
so
wanted to let her know, like,
quick
okay.
update.
Yeah. She didn't answer. Come find out she's on the phone with my mom. So like I end up digging my phone out of my pocket and I call my dad. And so my dad's out traveling for work. He's in Kentucky. My parents both live in South Carolina. They're married, but he's traveling for work. He's in Kentucky. My mom's in South Carolina. This just happened, 2 different areas, you know what I mean? Trying to eventually come to me in Florida by themselves on a long 10-hour road trip plus, and so I call my dad and I just remember seeing Baptist, the medical sign, as I got on the phone with my dad. And I told him real quick, "Hey, I'm pulling in the hospital." He's just saying, "Hey, just, control your breathing. You're going to be fine." And then I was like, "I got to go. Just got here." So as we got to the hospital, I just like, as quick as we got there, I was out of the car, hopped out of the car. I walked into the hospital and then they're like, "You got to lay on this table. You got to lay on the stretcher." And I was like, "I can't." I was like, "I got a hole in the back of my leg." You know what I mean? I was like, "I can't sit on anything." I was like, "I got a hole in the back of my leg." And they're like, "No, you got to," and then they put me on this gurney and roll me in. Then they start, like cutting all my clothes off and everything. And then it gets to like where I said I thought I was hit twice. You just hear them saying, "I got one here, I got one here." And then it's just like a little bit more of the "I got one here" started showing up. And they're like, "We got to put you in a scan, to see how the bullets went through your body and all this stuff." So
see what else got hit.
yeah, so they put me through a scan, and then I remember being in ICU for a little bit. Felt like while they're waiting on those results, and then I was like, well, I still had my humor to me and whatnot. I was like, I'm gonna make some phone calls, I'm gonna call my buddy, like my buddy Kevin. I called him, who's a big supporter of our gym and with his nonprofit Hunting for Healing and whatnot. And then I was assistant wrestling coach at the high school. So I was supposed to leave work at 12 that day, meet him at the Walmart and go to the tournament. that
So
Saturday.
he's got to call back to the last partner. No, I might be a little late today or something like
Exactly
that.
what I did. So I told him, I said, I called him while I was in ICU, and I said, hey, don't wait for me at Walmart. I said, because I'm not gonna make it. I was like, I just got shot and I'm in ICU and I'm waiting to see him there. And I was like, they're like, what? And I was like, yeah, I gotta go. I was like, but I just didn't want y'all waiting for me. So I called him, and you can ask anyone.
Not too many other people, Tony, would be too much worried about, I got a few more obligations here today. I better call them, let them know that, hey, I might be a little late or I may not be there. That talk about unselfish. Talk about, oh wow, that
that's awesome.
He blows my mind right now.
He still had his wits about him to make sure he got all of his priorities done.
Yeah. It was, like I said, I don't know like what triggered what response in my body, and I hope that every human has that response, you know what I mean?
Trust me, they don't.
Yeah,
they don't.
You would hope. I mean, but I that's kind of like what the well-trained philosophy now is behind my gym, you know, that fun stuff we'll get into. But so I'm sitting there in ICU, my wife's in now and she sees me and everything, and then we're sitting there. Then all of a sudden the base chaplain comes in, the Navy chaplain, the priest, and then the doctor, the surgeon comes into my ICU room, and I was like, oh, you know, I mean, this doesn't look too, you know what I mean?
You
like,
want the chaplain and the doctor.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, what's about to happen? They say, we got to go now. You need to have emergency surgery. The bullets ricocheted through your body, and you're like with your intestines and stuff, it's leaking like into your body. So we got to get you into surgery now. And they said, you're gonna have a colostomy bag. And I was kind of freaking out. And then I was like, what's a colostomy bag? I have no clue. And they're like, we're going to divert your large intestine out of your stomach. And that's going to be how you use the bathroom, essentially. And they said it could be permanent or it could be temporary. We'll have to see when we get in there. And it was just like that back on, like my mind, like I didn't really trying to process everything, and it's moving fast. And then they just kind of said a prayer with me. And next thing I know, I was wheeled into the operating room. And then I woke up back in the ICU with everything sewed up. And
do you know how long you were out on?
No, I'm not sure how long I was out. I know they said I had to get 3 blood transfusions while I was in there.
Because you got hit total, was it 5 or 6 times?
6 times. So like some of them they could just pack the wounds. Other ones they had like with my arm, all they could really do is pack it. And it hit my median nerve, which messed my fingers up in my hand. At the time, it's getting better, way better now. With just like using different remedies and treatments and whatnot to kind of get your fingers to respond back. So that's working. But yeah, so I came out of that, and then I did end up having a colostomy bag for 4 months, and then I went and had a reversal surgery 4 months after, and then from there it's just been just my recovery. I opened a gym within the first year, and that's with my recovery. We're coming on year 2 now.
Just quick time out, but
yeah,
with all this happened at that point in time, are you still in the military now, or did you retire at that point in time? Or
so I got medically retired, got a Purple Heart, gave me a Navy and Marine Corps medal for heroism for my actions that day, and I'm alive. So that's the biggest award. But
very, very, very well deserved. I mean, for what you did for all these other people and take care of it, even to the point that you hopped into the back of a cop car and you're plugging up a hole in another guy's leg here, right? Wow. How, again, I don't even know how to ask this other than bluntly, that how many people got hurt that day, or how many people perished in the process of this active shooter?
So there was 3 service members that died, and then there was 8 that were wounded. And it could have been worse. You know what I mean? It could have been worse. And it was so like knowing like I said, making all these calls along the way, it gave me a timeline. So the initial call I made was at 6:46, and that's when I got shot. So I kind of dialed in like that was the moment when I was under attack in my office. And then calling my wife to the moment where I called my dad when I arrived at the hospital. I was at 7:13. So 27 minutes is kind of like what it took me to figure out, to get from point A to point B. And then there's a lot of obstacles in between, and just trying to navigate.
There's a lot of things that happen in between point. I mean, and then that, what that short of time period, you did a lot of things, and again, no consideration really for yourself whatsoever. That's again a very, very unselfish act.
Yeah, and it didn't really come off like I was trying to be this hero or this guy. It was honestly, I wanted to live. And then as many people in the process that I could save, like while I'm saving myself, is that's the name of the game. You don't leave anybody behind. It would be selfish of me to like think of myself and like just exit the office and leave wounded behind. And that's just not how I was raised. I come from a military family. I'm very structured. I've wrestled in my whole life, wrestled through college and whatnot. So those.
I said, Tony, what I like about Ryan here because he's got several different things. Going from military, you know how strong I feel about military and having that American can-do type spirit, but then also being a wrestler on top of that. He had so many things going for him that taking 6 shots, 6 bullet wounds, and to keep worrying about others and helping as many people did that again. Right, I just can't say enough great things. And I would never been able to told this story in the first place. So it's kind of like that's why I wanted Ryan to basically say what happened because he's got the fact that you have such good memory of the timeline. And 27 minutes, that was a lot happened. A lot.
Yeah, happened. It's like one of them things that probably when you won your belt too. I mean, it's a moment that's always going to be engraved in your brain. You could recall it probably to the smell of what it smelled like in that atmosphere in the arena or whatever. And it's kind of like the same deal where I can really pay myself back into that picture because it's something that's just going to always be engraved in my being. But I use it now, before getting too ahead is like such a negative situation. The only way for me to like win, because like if you get sucker punched, you want to fight that guy again. Sure. But the only way for me to win was to create a positive out of that negative. And so that's what motivated me through my recovery. Because the first 2 months I didn't sleep. I was a little bit scared to sleep. My dreams were haunting me. There's just a lot of crazy stuff that was going on. So I just started building a website, and I didn't know I was going to end up having my own gym at all. I did a project when I was in grad school for my 5th year, and I named it Well Trained. I actually did it in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is my project, but I kind of tapped back in. That's already had the logos I created, and the Well Trained aspect is being my last name, Blackwell Trained. But it had more meaning to it because of what I had overcame, and it was I credit that to like not just my military training or my wrestling training, like my life training. Like I was an ocean lifeguard between college and the Navy. So in Myrtle Beach, I was an ocean lifeguard. So that's where I learned a lot of life-saving techniques and different tactics. So like you just kind of compound all that together. That's what really kind of clicked with me during my recovery. I was like, oh, wow. It's just kind of like made things a little bit more clear. And it motivated me to create that positive out of such a negative situation. I didn't want people to just look at me and feel bad. I want people to look at me and say like, wow, he wears his wounds well, or that's a really motivating person. Most people, in 1 year could not just find the mojo, you know what I mean, to kick it into gear. Where with me, it was like I felt like I had to be more ready now than ever, just because it was just that's that fight mentality,
And Tony, just for viewing knowledge, just to understand, I just met Ryan just yesterday. I was over at Scott's martial arts academy. I was conducting Deepwater, and I was conducting a seminar there, and then ended up meeting Ryan. And then as I meeting Ryan, and Scott was telling me more of his stories, stuff like that. Going, I'm here. I need to carve some time out. I need to sit down with this man because more people need to become aware of him, what he's doing, his unselfish acts that he did that day. I may ask some very personal questions right now, but it's kind of like I want to know what's kind of going through there. But to be here and help promote his business on top of that, I want people like him to succeed because he is what America stands for. Other people that want to be parasites to our society, no. Those are the barnacles I wish to scrape off. Yep. People that are making their own way. No, these are the kind of people I want to help, and I want their stories to be known. So more people that can find about right here in the Pensacola, Florida area. That's what I'm looking for. Who knows? I might actually bring them up to my place up in Coldwater, Michigan. We might do some camps up there as well. Never know what the future's going to hold.
A lot of people will run away from those situations. It's like, and it's just, and like I said, everything that he did and was able to accomplish in that period of time only what you said, 27 minutes? Correct. Probably felt like an eternity, Yeah. And it was, but for you just to stay your mind straight and be able to go do every step that you did. Like Dan was saying, for you to put your elbow in somebody's wound to help save them, it was like, that's just amazing. And so many people, I mean, complain about having to get up early in the morning and go to work, you know? I mean, it's ridiculous. And then you were able just to act. It's amazing. And was it just the one shooter?
Yeah, so it was one shooter. So remember I said the character to remember with the green flight suit
Yeah,
that walked by?
there's actually great aspects to the story.
So when we're to backtrack to that moment, because I didn't want to like get off tangent.
Yeah, no.
So,
yeah, I wanted to ask, but I
so
wanted to let you finish.
yeah, no, that's I'm glad you brought that up. I wanted to touch base back on that. So like when I saw that gentleman that morning smiling at my office, he was the shooter.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I was in the car, the police cruiser, and on our way to the hospital, I remember the cop saying we got him. And something in me just said it was a Saudi flight student. I just had a feeling that it was. And I said, was it a Saudi? And he said, yes. And I automatically knew it was that guy that had the green flight suit on, that had the helmet bag that he was carrying, the green bag.
Who smiled at you?
Who smiled at me that morning when I said, what's up to him? And he smiled. I said, hey, good morning. And he smiled and
just kept on his way.
Kept on his way. So like that was a big thing for me too, is just because my door was wide open at that time. You know, I was able to close the door because of what he was doing down the hall. And then he came to my office next. Like, and you played like the, you know, the 1,000 different ways it could have went, but it went the one way, you know, but you play that role a few times, you know what I mean? With your door being open, how does that go? So that was like a lot of just things to process. And, but like I said, the gym is what helped him being able to get back to the kids and provide wrestling and an outlet for service members. We still have young active duty service members coming here to wrestle because they wrestled in high school. They want to stay in shape. They want to roll around. So like, that's what helps like with my psyche and just being able to stay on topic and motivated.
Thank you for watching another episode of Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity. You better like, subscribe, and share, or I'm going to come to your house.